Howdy do, everybody. There I am. Hi. Oh, yeah. Welcome back. We're streaming again after a week. Yeah. I didn't put out a schedule this week as wasn't really feeling it, and multiple roadblocks got in my way, so I've not been able to stream. So, I've gotten some migraines. Not exactly my best week, but we're on. Try and do better. So, we got a lot to do today. Apologies for those of you who might be still stuck in the ad land. I'll explain, I'll probably just re-explain it here. But, yeah, that's basically been my week as of... I'm feeling somewhat better, but hopefully this stream will help me take my mind off of those things. Something else explodes, which it probably will. But yeah, today, on the docket, we have got two things we're going to be doing. The first half is that we're going to be talking about the Gundam card game. Specifically, we're going to be going over everything that has been revealed so far that is new in the month of May. And what's more, I'm actually going to be recording for it. But yeah, specifically I'm recording my audio. I'm actually going to start working towards making some YouTube content, specifically covering the Gundam card game. I'm going to start working on some shorts, start doing coverages of every new field card, and that's a daily tasking as long as Bandai sticks to their pattern, which I'll cover here shortly. Yeah, I really want to start pushing the channel towards that direction as far as YouTube. Twitch will remain mostly the same. I'll play whatever I want, but occasionally there probably will be some streams where I do some coverage on the Gundam card game. I really want to support this because I've been in a few community discords covering the game, and there's been a couple bit of negativity, and I'm not a big fan of it. So I want to give this game more a fair shake and push it, especially because there have been numerous Gundam card games in its near almost 50-year history. Or, oh yeah, it is pretty much years now, or it will be 50 here in about 40. Yeah, near 50-year history of Gundam. Multiple card games all across, and none of them have really made an impact to last. But Bandai is in a huge card game boom with One Piece, Digimon, the 2 Dragon Ball card games. So hopefully Gundam will be a repeat of that success. Ad's almost over, so I'll just re-say everything that I just did for those back. Okay, welcome back everybody who just had the ads. I started a little early. I mistimed that. My apologies. But yeah, today's docket, we're going to be going over everything that has been updated in the Gundam card game for this month. Specifically, I'm going to be recording my audio for it, and I'll be featuring some of the footage here and whatnot for a video that I'm going to be making for YouTube. I've seen other streamers do this as sort of like a shortcut way of, hey, I get to make it a stream and then edit it out, which, hey, fine by me. I'm going to be starting gearing some of my YouTube content towards the Gundam card game, specifically like shorts covering daily reveals and whatnot. This might take us about hour and a half, however long it needs to take. And then afterwards, we're going to get into Death Stranding again, because we have 26 days until release, and we're not even halfway through the game, so we gotta start chugging along on it. It's a doozy. So if my voice sounds a little performative here in the next bit, it is a YouTube video, so I gotta throw on a nice voice. I might repeat lines or do retakes, as it were, so let me actually throw up my Audacity and start recording myself. So turn down that, yeah, so the music doesn't get caught on the mic. So, with that out of the way, switch things over. Got that. Okay, there we go. All right, so yes, it is time for cardboard crackism. Even plastic crack, since Gundam and, you know, Gunpla builders. And get one more swig of water. Okay. Make sure it's going. Okay. Yes, welcome in, folks, for the Gundam card game update provided by me, Taco Duo. So, for the next few slides, I'm going to be going over everything that's been revealed in the Gundam card game as far as actual card reveals, news, events, broadcasts, whatever have you. Everything has been covered in the month of May, and there have been a lot of updates. So, let's get into it. First thing, during the Link Station broadcast that was on the 17th of May, they revealed some more information regarding some of the upcoming future sets. Got some additional reveals of art for Iron Bloom, as well as Clan Unity, the Iron Blood Orphans, and G-Quck starter decks. And we got some more information regarding the next set, which was October. We also got some card reveals, which we'll be covering here in just a second. Starting first with some of the art reveals for Iron Bloom. When they announced IBO initially, we already got this version of the Gundam Barbados 4th form. We just saw the full art on the actual Link Station itself. But during said stream, they also revealed McGillis' Schwab Greys, bigger units from the series. I'm not too familiar with Iron-Blooded Orphans. Ashamed to say that modern Gundam, post-Gundam 00, is one of my weaker points, beyond except maybe the Build series. So I'm not too familiar with Iron-Blooded Orphans. Fans of it I have spoken to have said, fans I've spoken to about it have very much hyped up its quality, so maybe I'll get around to watching it, especially since, well, it's becoming involved in the card game. So, but the more important set that I care about is G-Quux, the currently airing series. We just had episode 8 air as of this recording on 30th May, and during the Link Station on 17th, they revealed the full arts for basically the big boss of that starter deck, the Gundam G-Quux itself, as well as its pilot, Amate Machu Yuzuriya. I have been very much enjoying Gundam G-Quux. It has been a big injection of life into the series, especially since Witch from Mercury was its own thing, and this series has just been a gigantic love letter and callback to the Universal Century and everything that's been great about it. I'm very much looking forward to this starter deck, and towards the end of the presentation here, I will be doing a special little video regarding some possible hints on what's coming. Now, this will include Gundam G-Quux spoilers, so if you don't want to be there, you can go ahead and skip around for it or come back later. So far, as far as the actual art itself, I very much enjoy it. This is some really high quality stuff. I especially love the heat effect on the Hawk, the Gundam G-Quux itself. I like seeing the destruction of the other Zakus around it, and that one behind the G-Quux looks suspiciously red, which is rather funny considering that the Char Zaku hasn't been since the one before, but that's getting into spoiler territory. So, that's it for the Clan Unity reveals. Moving on to the special announcement during the Link Station for those of you who were there at my live stream. But here is a refresher, especially for this new video. They announced some of the series that are going to be in GD02. Announced Dual Impact. The primary series that they're going to be showing off are Gundam Age and Afterwar Gundam X, the green and purple card that you see before you. So, once again, Gundam Age and X are very, very odd choices. Gundam Age didn't really have that much of an impact, especially for a modern Gundam show. In movie terms, it was basically an underperforming flop. That's the nice way of putting it, I promise you. There are far bigger haters of Age than what I'm saying right now. Gundam X, a bit of an underdog in the alternatives roster, especially for the 90s. Afterward, Gundam X didn't get that much of a well-received reception when it came out, but has been loved by some lesser, but Afterward Gundam X has been loved by some fans across time. And what's more, they released some product information about the actual pack itself, and it did say that we'll be featuring Gundam Age, Afterwar Gundam X, Iron-Blooded Orphans, quote, and more. So obviously this G-Quux will be featured in the booster pack, and one of the things that Bandai has announced about the Gundam card game is that even one of the things that Bandai have announced about the future card sets is that every set release will still feature cards supporting different series outside of the main. So we may see some more Universal Century support in GD02. Fingers crossed, hopefully. They also announced, actually just this week, that Clan Unity and the Dual Impact Booster Pack will be releasing at the exact same time, 24 October. Which is honestly a bit of a surprise, especially since for GD01 here, all the booster box, especially for GD01 here, especially since the 4 starter decks are coming out on the 11th, and then 2 weeks later on the 25th is the actual booster box. Bit of a change of pace for Bandai, but I don't dislike it. So, moving on along, we do have some bit of unfortunate news. That being that at the Link Station that they announced that towards the end of May, they would be releasing the Gundam card game tutorial app, where you get access to basically the cards from the starter deck and use them to mix and match, build your own decks, or even just use the ones from the starter decks against an AI opponent. They'll learn the mechanics of the game. However, on 29 May, they unfortunately announced that the app is being pushed back until late June for release for quality assurance. Which, unfortunate, but hey, as whatever they need to do to make sure that this is as good as possible, then they can take as much time as they want on it. I will admit, I'm a little disappointed because I really want to see what the rest of the cards are for the starter deck. They are almost finished. So, now, the meat of everything, the actual card reveals. Oh boy. So, there are a lot of reveals this month. Bandai for the last, Bandai's usual pattern for this game has been revealing only one card per day. When they started out, however, they did change it up. Around about 9 p.m. Pacific time, they would reveal a card, and then 2 hours after, they revealed 2 more. So 3 cards a night. They did that about 3 times and then stopped it and just kept it at 1 card per night. So very, very slow pace, and that might be worrisome, especially for if you're like me and you want to know what's coming, which I'll be covering in a later portion of the video. So, starting with some Earth Federation blue reveals. Starting from the left side, we got a level 3, cost 3, 3/3, that's a lot of 3s, Dark Jagan, a common with repair 1. At the end of your turn, this unit recovers the specified number of HP, so it gains 1 point back if it's damaged, with the Earth Federation trait as a link. So already starting out the top, the Stark Jagan, a pretty good card, especially since it has a pretty generic link requirement. Now, for those of you who haven't been keeping track, the link basically means when a mobile suit is played, it has summoning sickness. It can't attack. However, if you link the specified pilot there at the bottom, then it can attack the same turn it's played. And with a generic trait that just says Earth Federation, as long as you have an Earth Federation pilot, and we so far have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, we have 6 so far. So you have a lot of options. And some of those aren't even just pilots, they're also command cards, so there's a lot of utility in play here. Especially with Repair 1 being such a big focus for the Earth Federation decks. All that repair, you're going to have to make sure you swing that you terminate these cards on the first one. Otherwise, they're just going to keep healing back whatever you hit them with. So, already off to a good foot with the Stark Jagan. Moving right along to the Delta Plus. Level 4, cost 3, so same cost. Also with Repair 1, but with the additional effect, during Link, this unit gets HP plus 1. So, as long as you have any Earth Federation pilot, it will get an additional HP to it, so it becomes a 5/3 thick. Pretty impressive. Give me one moment, I need to actually bring up my list. I do need to reference other cards during this. card list. There we go. Are you, little punk? Aha. So, I have always loved the Delta Plus, and even its pilot alone that it's supposed to have in the series proper is a major boost for it. His pilot, Reed Marquenis, is a level 3 cost 1 with a +1/+1 with the effect that if this unit has repair, it gets AP +1. So, Reed is honestly the best combination for this because Reed alone already gives him +1/+1, so this becomes a 5/4, and then its own effect, becoming a link unit, will make it a 6/4, and then Reed gives it an additional point, so it becomes a 7/4 stick because it has repair. For only level 4, that's huge, especially for 7. And with a little bit of extra HP too, this thing can take some hits from the smaller guys and come back even harder. So, very, very impressive. Moving along to the Nahel Argama, a base card that was revealed. It has burst, so it comes up when it's destroyed from your shields. Level 3, cost 2. When it's deployed, you add 1 of your shields to your hand, as per usual. Then choose 1 enemy unit with 3 or less HP, rest it. So, another strategy that's been coming out of the blue card so far has been resting, suspending, whatever way you need to describe it. Tapping is the Magic the Gathering term for it. Basically, rendering a unit unable to use any effects or just making it able to be attacked. Which is a very, very interesting strategy, primarily because I have theories regarding some future sets that are coming that I want to go over later that could be critical. So, Nahel Argama on its own, not too bad, but it does require that the enemy has a 3 or less HP. So for smaller units to mid-range units, it could leave something open to being attacked. Fingers crossed though. However, some of the bigger units, like the boss units, might leave you with some trouble. And then moving on to the last card on this page here, the Gundam Unicorn 02 Banshee Unicorn mode. Level 4, cost 3, same cost as the Delta. It's also a 4/3. Has the effect, when paired, choose 1 enemy unit with 3 or less HP, rested. Once again, getting some more of that resting, rendering it's open to being attacked. However, its linkage is very unique. It needs a cyber newt. So, if you're familiar at all with the Universal Century, there is cyber newt types, which is basically an artificial. However, the main issue is that in GD01, it's covering, as far as the Universal Century, 1979 Gundam, Gundam Unicorn, and that's it. And out of those, cyber new types don't really become a thing until Unicorn, and even then, there are only 2, and they're both red cards, Marita Cruz and Full Frontal. Excuse me, at least Full Frontal has been revealed as a card. Marita Cruz, the character, we have not seen as a card yet, but she more than likely will. We're just gonna have to wait on the official report. So, I'm very curious if there are other cyber new types that are gonna be in play for blue, or if they're expecting some crossover between red and blue. Again, I'll address later. Or with that effect of suspending coming in handy for this card, very much on par with blue. However, its linkage only being a cyber new type does limit it somewhat. So I'm very curious what other cards they're going to make it more of it. So, moving right along to the next one. Our last blue reveals, one of my favorite characters in the reveal, is Sayla Mass, revealed as a pilot, level 3, cost 1, Earth Federation White Base Team, new type, so she's got a lot of points covering her. She's a +1/+1. This unit is blue, it gains repair 1. So Sayla gifts whatever unit that she's piloting repair. Very, very, very critical for the blue archetype, especially since the Gundam itself, the one that she pilots for a temporary time with the series, already has repair 2. So he gets paired with it, it becomes a 4/5 with repair 3. My god, you're really gonna have to make sure when you swing hard to get rid of it. And once again, that's coming in handy for units like the Plus that we covered earlier. It just needs an Earth Federation pilot and it already has repair, so stacking on that repair. along with other units like the ball, which allows you to repair units when it attacks. So a lot of keeping yourself alive in the Federation as much as possible. And just as a personal note, like I said, Sailor Mast was one of my favorite characters, and the fact that she became more active in the series as a pilot is very, very rewarding. Because she is, like, extremely popular. She's pretty much the poster girl for the Earth Federation. Fittingly enough, the unit that she does pilot towards the end, the G Fighter, only needs the white base team. Once again, that generic tag coming in here. And then moving on to the last revealed blue card, the Bayerland Custom. If you've seen Unicorn, or if you've at least heard of it, you know of this monstrosity. It had one of the best fight scenes in that show. Level 4 costs 2, so it's a little expensive, but only costing 2, very, very important. This unit becomes, when this unit's being, this unit is a little bit high to get to, but very, very cheap to play, so you still have room to throw out other things. However, its effect can be a little limiting. All 4 or more enemy units are in play, this unit gains blocker. So if an opponent swings at anything you can rest it in order to attack, let it take the hit. At 3-4, it's basically making sure any mooks that come after it are staying dead. However, that condition being that the enemy needs to have 4. So in a 1v1 play, that could be very dangerous, because if your opponent is already at 4 units, you're in some trouble. Especially if you're against like the Xeon Rush deck, which, oh boy, it does have some rush. So you're already on the back heel with that. However, I think what Bandai is saying with this card, along with another one that we're going to cover later, is that there are other play types in there besides the 1v1. There's also the 2v2 and the free-for-all Battle Royale. Just like Magic the Gathering on. So, and it's just saying, while 4 or more enemy units are in play. It doesn't say like one specific player, it means all enemy units. So, if you're playing against multiple people, this thing can get blocker very, very quickly. So, some viability in that. But in one-on-one play, it might be a little harder to make it a blocker. Or at least not without being on a real back foot. With blue done, we're now going to move on over to the white releases. At least for the Witch from Mercury, which didn't see a whole lot of releases. We came out swinging with the level 4 cost 3 Gundam Aerial Mirror Flight unit. A unit that shows up in the later portion of the first season. All the Gundam Aerials so far have been rather defensively, where they have more HP than AP, or have the equal amount between them. With the effect during pair activate action. Once per turn, for 2 resources, 1 enemy unit, it gets AP minus battle. So, a lot of words there, but basically what it's saying is that as long as it has a pilot, it doesn't need to be Suletta Mercury, who is the link that belongs to it. As long as it has a pilot, when it goes to attack, spend 2 of your resources, your enemy unit loses 1 AP. Which seems to be the strategy with the Witch from Mercury cards that I've been noticing between it, the Gundam Aerial Permit Score 6, which reduces 4 AP. There's a lot of AP being played with, and further exemplified with the base on the side here, the 13th Tactical Testing Sector, a level 3, cost 1, with burst, deploying to add shield to your hand. During your main phase, rest this base. If a friendly academy unit is in play, choose 1 enemy unit, it gets AP minus 1 turn. Once again, some more of that attack manipulation. Suletta wants to hit you with a stick, but she doesn't want you to hit her back. And this is coming in handy with some nice synergy with the starter deck base card, the Astacasia School of Technology Earth House, which has rest this base. All friendly link units gain AP plus 1 during this. So a lot of support in making sure that you're going hard. Either they gain points or the enemy loses. Moving on then to the red card reveals that we got. So, Zaft got a lot of reveals during the month, which makes me, a potential Xeon player, very sad. but we'll cover that unfortunately. But we'll move on ahead to the cards that we got. So, we start off with the Gamao, a level 2 cost 1 base. Fairly cheap. 5 HP, deploy, add 1 shield in your hand, burst. Activate action, rest this base, choose 1 friendly Zap unit with 5 or more. It gains 3 during the turn. So essentially, you can rest the base, pick one of your Zap units that's got a lot of AP, and it gains an ability to where if you deploy an enemy unit, it does 3 damage to the enemy's base. If they have a base, like the Gamao here, it will lose 3, so it becomes from 5 to 2. However, if the enemy doesn't have a base, then it just destroys the shield outright as well as destroys. So the Gamao very much helping to add on some firepower with your bigger sticks. Which leads to the next card here, a level 2 cost 1 command card, Stealth Stratagem, which is also called Nickel Amarfi. I'm a little mad at that. I'll explain why. 0 plus 1, so it gives only 1 HP. Choose 1 enemy unit with 2 or less AP, deal 2 damage to it. So, to refresh your memory, these cards can be played either as command cards or spell cards if you magic or use its ability, or you can use its ability at the bottom, which makes it into a pilot. So you can either play this as a enhancement to your unit or play it for its ability. It doesn't get to use both. However, it can be used during each turn with that wording. As long as any main action is happening, you can play it. So if your opponent's swinging, you can play it to deal some damage to it, or you can help and attack the unit. Now, however, it can only be with a unit with 2 or less AP, so it can't be a big stick, it has to be a little stick. So the cards on the side here, the Baku and the Zeno, these are the perfect targets for it. And it immediately destroy the Zeno, the Baku would live, however. Which makes sense for Nicole coming in for a quick stab and getting rid of the little guy. And the reason why I don't care for the name is because it was originally Nickel Amalfi. So one of the unfortunate things with Gundam having such unique names is that whenever some new product comes out, it's a 50-50 whether the character still has the same spelling of their names as they had before. Which makes me very worried for when Zeta Gundam eventually comes out, because we might have to revisit the terrible saga of Quattro Vagina. No, I'm not kidding on it. Oh boy. There we go. All right. Taking a quick swig of water. Moving on to said units. A level 3 cost 2, 2/3 Baku. Activate main, support 2. Rest this unit. One other friendly unit gets AP plus the specified during this turn. So, the Baku here is showing once again that red is taking huge advantage of that key support. You basically rest the unit, it can't attack, but another unit of yours gets some extra attack points. So it shares this ability with the Gaza D, which is in Beyond starter deck. For level 3 cost 2, it's a fine card. It just does the same ability, but it just uses different keywords. I will say it's beefier than the Gaza D, which is 2/1, which basically means once that Gaza D is suspended, it's gonna die, either by some effect that will stab it, like the Stealth Stratagem here, or the enemy is going to attack it and only take 2 from it. And say the Earth Federation deck, where it can repair almost anything, that 2 HP is coming right back. Now, the next card, the Zeno, level 2, 2 cost, 2/1. During your turn, while this unit is battling an enemy unit that is level 2 or lower, it gains first strike. So, another unique red keyword here, first strike. While this unit is attacking, it deals damage before the enemy unit. So, Daft is really making sure that it gets that hit in and you can't hit back. Similar strategy to the Witch from Mercury, except where it focuses on AP reduction, so it minimizes the damage it hits back. This one says, you don't get to hit in, I get to just hit you. With that little limitation, however, that it can only be against a level 2 or lower enemy unit. which kind of reflects the Miguel Iman command card that's going to be coming into starter deck, in that it can only give a level 2 strike. So some support for the little units. I actually don't mind that a little bit here. It's giving some value to your mooks versus having to rely on the big sticks and building up to them. Because in the meantime, you can have some little guys do some damage and be a threat. We'll say it being a link with a Zaf trait, very, very much in handy. So the Nicol Amalfi card that we just covered could immediately help Zeno go on the attack as soon as played, giving it 2 HP and AP. Not quite done with Zaft, or at least Seed. Because during the link station, they revealed the boss monster for the Zaft side of the Seed starter deck. The Aegis Gundam and its pilot Atherin Zala. Self attack: if this unit has 5 or more AP, choose one enemy unit that is level 5 or higher, deal 3 damage to it. 3 with the link of Atherin Zala. So, the Aegis Gundam is hilariously a direct counter to Kira's Ailstrike Gundam, which was the second half of the boss of that starter deck. It is a level 5 card. So, even with its higher HP, Aegis is making sure Kira dies. Or at least the Ailstrike version. Perfect Strike, yeah, it could probably die too, especially since they're both blockers and are more than likely already unrested and standing. It makes sure that that unit is terminated. And then once on the side here with Atherin, he has burst, he's +1/+2, so on the Zaf side here, it turns the Aegis into a 5/5. When paired, if this is a link unit, during this turn, it may choose an active enemy unit that is level 5 or lower as its attack target. Once again, that focus on attacking units that are not rested, blockers. Zaft is making sure that it can get rid of your blockers so that they can't punch you back, which is hilarious. Again, considering how much of a counter to Kira Atherin is. So very much some synergy there, especially with the Aegis's mobile armor card, which is a, I forget the exact AP and HP, but with the Aegis mobile armor form combined with Atherin, it becomes a 4/6. So a lot of HP to survive, doing some extra damage as well as breach. Beautiful synergy at the some beautiful synergy right there. Moving on ahead to the Strike Rouge. This has been one of the standout reveals so far in this set, especially for white, because the level 3 cost 2, 3/2. Activate main once per turn, resting one of your resources. Choose one of your rested units, white unit, with blockers set it as active. It can't attack during the turn. So, it has almost nearly the identical same effect as the Archangel base card, which says for 2 costs you can unrest a, you can set a white unit as active that has blocker. Strike Rouge does the exact same for cheaper, especially since it's only a level 3 cost 2. It's very much integral, especially for the white seed cards that have been revealed so far, especially for the strike units, because between the launcher, the Ailstrike, the Perfect Strike, they all have blocker, which is pretty much an exclusive keyword to white at the, which leads us directly into our next card, the Sword Strike Gundam, level 4, cost 3, or 3, with the Earth Alliance trait linkage, so any Earth Alliance pilot can use it, which makes sense in the context of what happens towards the end of the feed. During Link, so only when it has an Earth Alliance pilot, it attacks, choose one enemy unit with 2 or less HP, return it to the owner's hand. So once again, that focus on getting rid of the Mook unit. Sword Strike does not want to deal with your Mooks. He's just going to bounce them back and continue his... Rather, he's going to swing at something and get rid of a Mook on the side. So you can use Sword Strike to attack a boss while getting rid of some of his supports. Now, moving on to my favorite reveals on so far. This one was technically spoiled by some leakers, but now we've got the official release now from the ST-02 Wings of Advance starter deck. We got the second boss monster, the Tall Geese. Level 5, cost 4. 4-4. So a lot of 4s. Familiar with that number significance? Congrats. Activate main once per turn. For 4 costs, set this unit as active. So the Tall Geese is a big stick that says, I'm going to swing at you, and for a lot of resources, I'm going to unsuspend so that you can't hit me back. Very, very expensive. That's one of the things that's been holding back the Wings of Advance deck so far, is that a lot of their cards are very expensive. So it's already going to cost 4 to play this thing, and you're going to need 4 more when it goes in for that attack if you want to unsuspend it. And it can be used during either turn. So you could potentially waste an enemy's attack if they decide to swing at it. But again, you need to have those resources available. Very expensive. Alright. Whew, we have an ad break coming. So I'm going to, for those of you who aren't subbed, don't worry. Just stick around for the ads that happen here real quick. We'll be back here in about 3.5 minutes. And then we'll resume. I'm not going to progress. And there's the ad. So those of you with a sub, same opportunity. You can take this moment, take a break. I need to rest my voice for a second because I can already feel it's starting to get a little haggard. This is the chat real quick. Whew. Oh boy. You need to start like speaking more, tripping all over my words. I tend to speak before I have the fully functioned sentence that I want to get out, so like a weird verbal dyslexia. Ugh. Back in my neck too. Ugh. So for those of you still around, how's your Saturday go? Whew.
Why me? Why me? Why me?
Oh, Krokvar, thank you for the 45 months. Whew. Pretty good, just came back from eating dinner. Oh, nice. I had lunch just a little bit ago, so I made sure to eat before. So y'all aren't just waiting there for me to scarf down a delicious, succulent meal. This water bottle's almost. Grab another. I'm exhausted, been doing yard work all day, just showered and sat down. Ah, damn, Croc. It looks like ads about over in about 30 seconds. Zoom here. I don't care that it's Cosmic Era. It's the first time a Gundam game has made me this happy. Nice. It's one of the reasons I'm trying to put so much of my content towards the game is because we need more voices talking about this game. Because every other Gundam card game has died. Alright, welcome back everybody from the ad break. So we're going to resume here in just a moment. Moving right along to the Tall Geese's synonymous pilot, Zex Marquise, or Merquise as he's called now. Once again, that inconsistent Gundam spelling coming. Okay. A level 5 cost 1, so he's a little expensive. +2/+1. During your turn, when this unit destroys an enemy unit with battle damage, draw 1. So, Wings of Advance, once again, getting some of that draw power now, which is one of the things that this game has been lacking overall is draw power. You don't have any Pot of Greeds, or if you're a Digimon player, you don't have any Searchers, or at least not a whole lot of them. They're not very common yet, at least out of all the current reviews. So Zex gives a +2/+1, so as of right now, he's only linkable with his own Talgies, so it becomes a 6/5. Rather impressive. And it rewards an aggressive playstyle, destroying enemy units, getting some draw power out of it. So a distinct advantage. The only thing really holding it back is, once again, it costs so much. This is very much a mid-game type of cost. With such a, this is very much a mid-game costing card for such a early needed effect. Speaking of high cost, we're going to move on ahead to the Corsica base, a level 3 cost 3. This is now officially the most high level and expensive base card that we've got. Add one of your shields to your hand. Then, if it is your turn, deploy one Talgi AP or HP2 unit token. If it's your turn and a card with Corsica base and its card name is in your trash, deploy 2 Leo AP1 HP tokens instead. So, Corsica base is in a bit of a weird position. It absolutely relies on it being your turn when it's played. If it pops up from your shield when your opponent is attacking, its effect is basically null. Once again, that high cost coming into play. However, it does balance it out with its effect. You can either, being played for the first time, being played for the first time, you're getting a Talgi's token out of it. Essentially just a weaker version of the card itself with 2 less HP. That's a fairly surprisingly big stick. And if you get a second copy destroyed, if you get a second copy played, you get some more, if a second copy is played, then you get some manpower out of it. 2 Leo tokens come in handy, especially since this deck, once again, is very, very high cost, very low paced. Doesn't have a whole lot of ramp on its own. You need some cards from the start. Need some cards from the actual booster pack itself to really help it out. Moves us to our last Oz reveal card, and once again, I'm a little disappointed in it, but I'll explain why. Noin's Ares, level 3, cost 3, 2/3, linkage to its pilot Lucrezia Noin. When it's destroyed, if you have another Oz unit in play, draw 1. Once again, some of that draw power that's rewarding aggressive play. Noin wants to crash this Ares into the enemy as soon as possible to get you that card. Main reason I'm a little disappointed in this is only because between it and Miguel Iman's Jin that was revealed with the Seed starter deck, we're seeing some of the customized, like, ace-ish units before we're seeing the actual mooks themselves, which are, in my opinion, a little bit more integral to see what the game is about, especially as we've seen draft cards, the mooks are coming into play here. And again, I just really want to see more of the starter deck reveal, so I can actually playtest them and see what the basis of the game is looking like. Alright, speaking of Wing, during that link station on the 17th, we got a huge reveal. Our first legendary rare of G01, a Gundam Death Scythe, one of the big Operation Meteor boys himself coming in. It's a level 6, cost 4, 5/4, with linkage to Duo Maxwell. With the effect, when paired with an Operation Meteor pilot, place 1 rested resource, so you get 1 free resource out of it. Then, this unit gains first strike during this turn. So again, as we covered earlier, that first strike, making sure that when Death Scythe hits you for that first swing, you do not get to swing back. And what's more, when paired with its pilot, Maxwell, level 4, cost 1, +1/+2, that would make it into a 6/6. Meaning, whatever Death Scythe is going to swing at, it is going to die. Very appropriate for the God of Death. And Duo himself has the effect during Link, so pretty much with the Gundam Death Scythe, This unit's AP can't be reduced by enemy effects. So it's very funny to think about Chill Guy Priest wannabe duo Maxwell being the hard counter to Valletta Mercury's strategy. Because his AP can't be reduced. If you're going to hit him, he's going to hit you back and you can't soften the blow. So yeah, very surprised to see the Gundam Death Scythe being the legendary rares. Especially since the set is only going to have 12 of them. And this is a little, not quite concerning, but it is a little surprising. Especially since if we can assume that the boss monsters of starter decks are going to be the legendary rares, then each starter deck comes with 2 of them. The Karazaku 2, Sinanju, the Gundam, the Gundam Aerial, the Gundam Wing, Tallgeese, the Ale Strike, Aegis Gundam. That's 8. That's 8 out of the 12 cards, which leaves only 4 real open slots. So I do kind of hope that the other legendary rares aren't just reflections of the starter deck bosses. I want to see some more surprises, like the Gundam Death Scythe here. And our last wing card that was revealed, the command card, the Path to Victory or Defeat. Level 5, cost 1, so it takes some time to get to it, but it's very, very, very cheap to play. Main, look at top 5 cards of your deck. You may reveal one Operation Meteor or G unit card, pilot card among them and add it to your hand. Return the remaining cards randomly to the bottom of your deck. So we have our Searcher here for the wing cards. Specifically, just the green side, the Operation Meteor D-Team card. So, the interesting thing with this is that, as we can see with the other wing cards at play here, the Death Scythe and Duo, they both have the Operation Meteor tag, but they don't have G-Team. So, when this card was revealed, a lot of the communities I'm in were confused. What's G-Team? Is that some Japanese unique name or something? I had to look this up. The G-Team, apparently the specific name of the group of the pilots. So, Hero, Buffet, Duo, Catra, Troa, they are G-Team. They're not just Operation Meteor. G-Team also includes the doctors that help build the Gundams themselves. So, we may see the doctors come into play. We may see different versions of the pilots that will have that G-Team tag. Thing that I theorize, specifically with the G-Team tag, Endless Waltz OVA takes place after the series proper, when Operation Meteor is done, quote-unquote. G-Team could refer to the Endless Waltz version characters, so we could potentially see some Endless Waltz cards. That's currently my theory on it, and why we have the G-Team tag as its own thing here, instead of on cards like for Death Scythe. So, I'm very impressed with the Gundam Wing card reveal here. Now we move on to unfortunately, Zeon got the shortest end of the stick this with the fewest number of reveals. What's more, not even that great. So starting from the left here, we got the Ad Zam mobile armor. The level 5 costs 4. 2-5, lots of HP. Deploy. If 5 or more enemy units are in play, deal 1 damage to all enemy units. Once again, Adzam factoring in that multiplayer 2v2 or free-for-all aspect where you're going to be seeing a lot more enemy units than normal, and making sure all of them get popped. Just a little thing, just 1 point of damage. If it was someone Mook units, that could be really handy. If your opponent has multiple demi-trainers out, pop, they're all gone. And at 2-5 with the Zeon trait as a linkage, which right now we only have 2 pilots with that, Char and Ramba Raw. So, with the generic trait, it's making sure it's going to come out, and if you have the pilot, it can start swinging immediately. But Adzam is very much a attempt at board clear. Moving to the next card that was revealed during the Link Station event. Level 1 costs 1 DOP, fighter plane. 1-1, no linkage. The effect deployed, look at top card of your deck, return it to the top or bottom of your deck. So, if you're familiar with Magic the Gathering, this is Scry. Dop gives you a quick peek of what you got, and you can decide if you want to keep it or move the card ahead. So, for level 1, cost 1, Dop is essentially the most... despite being so worthless, the Dop might have accidentally made itself the Zeon's most valuable card because it provides searchability. Versus the wing card that we just covered, the Path to Defeat, which is so expensive. On to the next green Zeon card. One of the most controversial cards that came up. The most controversial is right after. Strategic Arms is a level 6, cost 6. Main, deal 2 damage to all units with blocker. Once again, a lot of cards that are reliant on your enemy having a huge lead on you, or at the very least, having some type of numbers advantage. And specifically Strategic Arms making sure all blockers get hit. So the stronger blockers like the Ale Strike or the Perfect Strike, they're gonna take a chunk but not make a huge difference unless you have other cards that pepper in some damage. But level 6 cost 6, that is so expensive. That is a very much late game card that's not gonna have a lot of rewards unless you are pretty much playing against a white player. So otherwise the card's not gonna come that much in handy, especially since white right now is the only color that's using blocker. And then we move to the most controversial card, the Kshatriya, one of the standout units from Gundam Unicorn Neo Zeon. All 4 cost 2, 3, 4, so about the same stance as the Buyerland Custom, but it's a vanilla card with no effects, and once again can only link with a cyber new type. So the reason it's controversial is because a lot of people like Marina Cruz. Has become one of the standout characters of that show. One of my personal favorites as well, I'll admit. And yeah, she got done a little dirty with this card being aggressive. Especially as a vanilla, it's just a body to put out there. It's got some decent attack and HP. Play is otherwise unimpressive. I'm still holding out a little bit of hope that we may see a different version of the Kshatriya in the booster pack or a future version card with some more meat effect that could support Marita's importance. Might even see the mid to late upgrade versions of the mobile that we see. That's my hope right now. So yes, understandably, the Kshatriya has become one of the more controversial picks of this. Moving right along now. Oh boy. So, this is technically not a reveal. This is kind of a leak. Kind of. So, for those of you who aren't aware, we're not just getting the Gundam card game, we're also getting the Gundam Assemble model kit series. It's going to be basically a skirmish type of tabletop game like Warhammer, basically. And they're going to be selling versions of the starter deck cards that will come with these model kits to paint. And on the website, on the packaging, they have the boss monsters of the starter decks. And Sharzaku 2 has not officially been revealed, but he is on the package. So we have the full scan and full view of our boy here. And my personal favorite. So we're going to take a look at what he can do. Sharzaku 2 is a level 3, cost 2, 3/2, with linkage to Shar Aznable. So the cheapest boss that we have right now. Basically just a higher tier Mook unit. When it's destroyed, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal one Zeon or Neo Zeon unit card among them and add it to your hand. Return the remaining cards randomly to the bottom of your deck. Sharzaku 2 next is now immediately overcome the DOP and has become the most essential card to the Zeon Rush type decks. Because it supports Zeon and Neo Zeon, so it supports both colors. Gets you, and it's a searcher for a unit. Very, very, very critical, especially with Zeon Rush's, well, rush tactic. Being so cheap to play, it does way more than the DOP and costs less than the Path to Victory or Defeat for 3/2, and once again rewards some of that aggressive play. Especially with Shar Aznable, he becomes a link unit with it, makes it unblockable. So very, very nice to see the official starter deck version of Sharzaku. instead of working with the booster pack version that we have been last few months. Now, the next sort of kind of reveal is once again more of a stretch. I'll explain why. So the Gundam card game revealed the official packaging and art for the actual booster pack. Very nice. It features the Gundam in his iconic slashing pose, destroying Azaku 2 side 7. So this will more than likely be the LR version of the card for the pack, or perhaps even an alt art version. We'll see. Not too surprising to see it. However, on the side of the box here, where my obvious red arrow is pointing, what is that unit? It doesn't look like anything in particular, or at least unique standing out, except if you remember the shape of the chest, the head, and the two rifles it's carrying on its side, it's very clearly a Gundam Wing Zero. Or excuse me, it's the Wing Gundam Zero. So we will be getting we will be getting endgame wing units in this series. I keep screwing up the sentence. We will be getting late game wing units in this set. We could potentially see the Gundam Epion, be seeing the Death Scythe Hell, or even the Nutaku. Yeah, the Wing Zero being revealed on the box art. Now we just have to wait for the actual card itself. Potentially an LR, or maybe just a rare. Yeah, very much looking forward to the actual reveal of the Gundam Zero. Alright, so the next part of the segment is that we're just going to do a quick rundown of all the current starter decks and what they have. Because the starter decks, we are closer to being finished with all reveals than the booster pack. And I would very much like Bandai to focus on the starter decks, so that all the simulators that we've been that the community has been creating can go ahead and finish out the actual decks so we can see what they're all about. So starting with ST01 Heroic Beginnings, almost every card has been revealed except for one, which has already been spoiled kind of, because it was revealed during one of the announcement videos for the tutorial app. The Zowart. It's one of the Mook units from Witch from Mercury. And as far as what we can tell from the Japanese text, it's a blocker with a specific effect that says this unit cannot attack players. So the Zowart is our first instance of a blocker that is literally there to be a body and hits and isn't allowed to attack the enemy. It's an interesting choice for this. As far as we can tell, it doesn't have any link, or at least not yet, because the literal bottom left was cut off from the footage that we have available. So we know what the card is. The set's just almost complete. Right now, Heroic Beginnings is looking as one of the stronger of the sets right now because of white base. That base card lets you take 2 of your resources and rest them and start spawning token versions of the Gundam, Gun Cannon, and Gun Tank. So it's a free body provider. Very, very, very handy. Moving on ahead to ST02 Wings of Advance. Once again, another deck that's almost complete, especially since they revealed the Tallgeese, Zex, and Corsica base. This set's almost finished. We just have 3 cards left, officially. During the Link Station on May 17th, when they were demonstrating the tutorial app, he did accidentally, quote-unquote, reveal that the Ares is a unit within the advanced starter deck. Its part number is unknown, but we do know is that the level 2 cost 2, 1, no linkage, with blocker. So this is a first instance of white not having blockers. So blue could potentially have that as well, which makes sense. Green and red are very much the aggressive play styles versus blue's healing and manipulation and white's non-aggressive blocker tendency. The other 2 units right now are up in the air. One of them is obviously going to be the Leo. It's obviously going to be the Leo. However, this other unit is up in the air at the moment. I did go to those Gundam Assemble packages because they have some of the tokens that are in the game featured underneath the models, and they featured the Space Leo, which is the purple version of the Leo itself with an extra booster, but it didn't have a Space Leo token. It just had a regular Leo token. So We could see the Space Leo as the other Mook for this, or we could see another Oz unit, which I'd be very curious which one. Because there's not a whole lot of standout Mook units from Oz. Maybe the Cancer or Pisces, maybe? We'll have to see. ST-03, Zeon's Rush. This deck was the one I was surprised a little bit about. Primarily because if you were looking at the ST-01 and 02, you see that the first 5 cards of both these sets are, well, one series, or at least one faction, before it moves to 4 cards of the other one. Zeon's Rush did the opposite. With Char's unofficial reveal, we know that he is card number 5. So we only get 4 of the Neo Zeon and then 5 of the regular Zeon. And once again, just like its blue and white counterpart, there's only 1 card left, except we don't know what card it is. And I'm genuinely curious what it could be. It could be a Dom, it could be a Gelgoog, or it could be some other standout unit from the early portion of the series. And we already have Ramba Rawl as a pilot, so it may not be anything particularly unique. So I'm genuinely curious. I mean, hell, it might even be another DOP fighter. And we'll say, the Sinanju, the boss of this unit, so far the most expensive card, including the cost, even more expensive than the Death Sight, is looking to be one of the strongest cards, with especially with its effect that allows you to pop 2 damage on enemy units when it destroys the enemy shield, and it has high maneuver, making it unblockable. Along with full frontal, giving +2/+2, the strongest pilot support, turns this thing into a 7/6. It's devastating. And then the last starter deck, Seed Strike, which so far has 3 unrevealed cards. Technically 2, because once again, that mobile tutorial app that came out that they've been hinting towards revealed that there was the Nazca class battleship as its base. Level 3, cost 1. We don't know what its effect does do. We know that it has burst, we know it adds 1 card to shields hand, but we don't know what the main effect does. And once again, we have some curiosity here on whether it's going to be 5 Earth Alliance units or 5 Zaft units. I'm willing to bet it's 5 Zaft units because the Zaft has a lot more units to play with, especially since the Jin is obviously going to be one of these units. And we've already got Miguel's version, so we need to have a Mook in there, at least for the Zaft side. And just for posterity, I just wanted to show off the token art for all the cards that we have so far. We have the white base team on the top left there, which will come out with white base. We have the Leo and Tall Geese that come out with Corsica base. We have Sharzaku 2 and Dazaku 2, which come out of the Fommel and Ramba Rawl, and the booster pack version of Sharzaku 2. And then we have the Ale Strike, the Launch Strike, and Sword Strike, all tokens that come out from the Striker pack card from Seed Strike. So, just getting a quick look at what tokens we have to play with far. And then moving on ahead to this section, these are all currently the revealed cards of GD01. I've sorted it by the color, which seems to be the actual number that the sets are going to be coming out in. And as you can clearly see, blue and white have more than their lion's share of the cards revealed. Mainly Ration, Earth Alliance with some dabbings of Witch and Mercury, some Gundam Wing and Zeon, Neo Zeon and Zaft getting really, really shunted. Zeon as a whole for this month has not been able to really. Very unfortunate. But hey, this leads us cleanly into our next segment. By the numbers. So, I am, if you haven't figured it out already, incredibly obsessed with this game. And I've mathematically broken down a lot of the cards that we have left, looked at some key details, some theories, and what have you. So, starting with the right side, these are the list of mobile suits, units, and cards and whatnot that have been revealed either through social media or through the beta boxes, the promo decks, or the leaks that have come. So far, what we do know is that the Ifrit from Gundam Witch of Mercury is card number 86, and Salem Ass is card number 87. So we're working with 86 units in this whole set. We're gonna have a little bit more. We're gonna have way more command cards, bases, and pilots. There are going to be 130 cards in the set. Out of the 130, 24 have been revealed officially, 57 are known. 50 commons, 9 revealed, 21 known. 36 uncommons, 12 revealed, 24 known. 32 rares, 32 rares, 6 revealed, 15 are known. 12 legendary rares, only 1 revealed total. 28 out of 130 have been officially revealed, 62 out of 130 are known. And then out of the starter deck cards, there are 64 of them. 37 have been officially revealed either through beta boxes, promo decks, leaks, and whatnot. Official releases. 59 out of the 64 are known. And then the actual release dates. Starter decks come out July 11th. As of this recording, on 31 May, we have 41 days. Then the actual set itself comes out on 5 July, 55 days. So between all of these, if Bandai continues to only doing 1 card per day, we are not going to know the entire set before. Or if unless they do what Magic the Gathering does, where they wait as we get closer to release and do big splashes of reveals, which is potentially what they could do. Now, Bandai has in the past, as I mentioned earlier, done reveals every 2 hours, similarly to what the Digimon card game does. At about 9 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. PST to 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. PST. Reveal cards in pairs like that. They could potentially switch it up to do that in order to get more out. So far, it's been a snail's pace 1 per day. So I'll begin covering what those cards are and release them as shorts on my YouTube, posting them on Twitter and whatnot, and what have you, in order to keep up with this. In order to keep up with this series. Okay, so the closing portion of this. Now, if you do not want to be spoiled for Gundam G-Quux, the series that is currently airing, I highly suggest you put me on mute or go to the bathroom or what have you. In fact, we're about to take an ad break here in about 5 minutes. I will be covering this series and some units that have come out in the series. We are on episode 8 out of 12. No season 2 announced so far. See what happens out of that. But I'm going to be doing a segment here where I'm going to theorize what could potentially be in the G-Quux starter deck, or if it's in Dual Impact itself, what cards could be featured in the boosters. So yes, if you don't want to be spoiled, turn back away, kids. Mute the stream, go do what you need to do. And I'm going to be covering that here in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so Clan Unity, the G-Quux cards. As I said, we are in episode 8 of 12, so there could be very much some more surprises incoming, which, very possible. This show has been a roller coaster of reveals, shocks, twists, and turns. Genuinely no idea what's going to happen next. But those of you who haven't heard of Gundam G-Quux, or if you don't care about spoilers and just want to hear yap about it, Gundam G-Quux is an alternative version of the Universal Century, where Char, in all his absolute insanity, instead goes on the mission to infiltrate Side 7 with Hidaku, abandons it when he sees an unoccupied Gundam, and hops into the cockpit. Zeon acquires the Gundam, its data, starts building machines based off of that, and Zeon effectively wins the 1-year war. They gain their complete independence, and the Earth Federation is forced out of space. At least for the most part. And as you can see here, some of the designs here are very, very far cries from their original designs. I don't hate them. In fact, I do respect the intent to go in a completely different direction. But as you can probably tell by the fact that as you can probably tell from the fact that this is Studio Kara, the comparisons to Evangelion are unending, especially with our friend there underneath the Psycho Gundam, who we'll cover here. So, the featured units of the Earth Federation so far in this have been the Gundam itself, which after its capture comes into quick conflict with the 01 Gundam, very, very rare callback and surprise on that. In a quick fight, we also see a different version of the gun cannon and a light type gun cannon. Seems to be a slimmer build with only one cannon. And we eventually meet Artesia, Salem Ass, who I mentioned earlier, which her reveal during the episode that what transpired is incredibly intentional on Bandai's part. She gets a custom gun cannon and becomes effectively the new Amuro of this timeline, feared ace throughout the entire war, at least for the Earth Federation. So we could potentially see her gun cannon. The gun tank, our poor boy, the gun tank. It was destroyed in the scrapyard before it could have a chance to be properly assembled and fight. So we have not seen it in the show proper. We only know what it looks like through art that's been revealed and some body parts that were strewn about when Char attacked Side 7. We could still see a card of it though, and fingers crossed, I really hope we do. And then for the other cards, the Earth Federation still has a part to play in the show proper because midway through the show, the Titans, or at least some proto version of them, appear within the story itself. We get the Psycho Gundam showing up as its Mark II design, but this is the Mark I, along with the Humbrubby. These things should not exist until Universal Century 0087, but Gundam G-Quux takes place 0085. So it seems with Char kidnapping the Gundam, a lot of things have hyped up. This is series, like I said before, this series is a gigantic love letter to the Universal Century as a whole. Not just 0079, Zeta Gundam as well. We could potentially see some double Zeta or Char's counterattack reference. Who knows? But that's about all the units for the Earth Federation that have been in the show so far. We could potentially see more. There are 4 episodes left. And if this series gets renewed for a second series, this show gets renewed for a second season, we could see even more. Especially with how nutty some of the earlier Earth Federation variants. We could potentially see a return of the white base as the G-Quux version. Zeon itself is definitely going to be the most interesting because the Zaku 2, making a quick comeback, has a lot of different variants. You have the normal standard military green version. You have Char's version. You have police Zaku. You have Zakus that are used in the clan battle of the series that takes up the majority of the first half. Ones that are run by junk runners. So we could see some Zaku variants on that. Char's version of the Gundam, of course, after he steals it, Cassilia has it painted in his colors. We could see him riding around in it. And it should be noted, it is a different version than the original Gundam that he kidnaps because it gets fitted with a Psychomu and some bit funnels. So we could potentially see some effect play out of that. The Gundam G-Quux itself is, I'm really hoping it's going to be Zeon because it is a Zeon designed Gundam with its own Psychomo system that gets hijacked by a civilian. So I'm really hoping it's Zeon. Really hoping. We get to see the Rickdom, its military version, that same standard green. We see custom versions with the black Tri-Stars who make a surprise return in the show. And we know that darling boy Chalia Bull himself has a custom Rickdom that never shows up in the show proper, but they designed it. We could see that. The Gelgoog. Looking awfully Jimish there, Gelgoog. But yeah, that's the version of the Gelgoog that Zeon came up with when they stole the Gundam. They basically just stole the gym from the Earth Federation. Very hilarious. We could see the mass production version that was in the 1 Year War. We could see the custom one that's piloted by Shiko Tsugai, who shows up pretty early in the show. The Gyan made a surprise his debut. Same episode with the Titans. Shining Knight with a lance and shield coming into Cassilia's defense. See the Gyan make a card debut. We could even see the Kikaroga or even the Brabro, technically. There it is at the bottom left. A transformable mobile suit, which we have seen the mobile armors. I mean, if Adzam can be a card, the Kikaroga, or hell, even the mass-produced Big Zam that we saw in the show could make a debut as a card. And as if you can see on the bottom there, the white base looking a little greenish.
Someone fat get in my way!
Char kidnaps the white base. He has it recolored into the green Sodon, so we could see a base of that. And our cursed little gremlin over there, the G-Fred, which is basically the Unit 2 of the Gundam G-Quux. We could see it debut as a card. Quick break here to take a sip of water and say, welcome in, Raiders. We're currently on the last stretch of my Gundam card game segment. Hey, Colony drop just in time for Gundam talk. Exactly. Yeah, we just finished going over a lot of details over the Gundam card game. We looked at some revealed cards. We looked at some cards that we could be potentially revealed. We looked at leaks. And right now, I'm mainly just vamping and theory crafting over one of the starter decks that's going to be coming. So, that's the list of the whole units that we have revealed in the show right now. As far as the actual color and strategy of these cards, I was talking earlier about how blue has a lot of focus on repair with the normal Earth Federation. I'm theorizing that this deck is going to be red-blue because we haven't seen that combination yet. It's a very unique one. Blue, very passive, very manipulative of cards, and red, very aggressive on attack and aggro. So, excuse me. The interesting thing about this is that what I'm theorizing is that with this red-blue combination, the blue Earth Federation cards are going to be more focused on resting units, tapping them, spending them, however you want to say, leaving them open for the aggressive red Xeon cards, or the G-Quux in this case, to come in swinging with attacks to do some damage, maybe with some breach, or just board clear, get rid of the what the opponent has on the play. So you could see. That's my big prevailing theory about this set so far. I really hoping I'm right, because I really want to, if I can't get my Xeon Rush deck going, I at least want to get G-Quux. I've been really enjoying G-Quux. I especially want the G-Quux to be Xeon, so we can get some of that beautiful synergy with original Xeon, alternative Xeon, and Neo Xeon. So many subsections of Xeon all clamoring together. Lord help us if we get Zeta eventually added and we get Hamon's Neo Xeon and her Axis forces, which are two distinct entities. Oh god. Actually, according to Akurasu, whose reliability is already questionable, Sodon is not the white base, it's the Pegasus of the Pegasus class. In the main timeline, the Pegasus could not be finished, so white base was side 7. Here, it's the white base that had to stay behind. Pegasus with head. Interesting. I did notice that when I was looking at the Gundam wiki, I was pulling these images, that the quote-unquote white base was just labeled Pegasus, wasn't given its actual name. So, that could potentially be the case, but either way, point being, one of my secret theories that I'm hoping for is that the Sodon has the exact same effect as the white base card from ST01. You rest 2 resources, but instead of playing the Gundam team tokens, it instead plays out Xeon tokens. I just think that would be cute and fun. So if I remember right, the next slide is blank. Yeah, okay, so yep, that's everything as far as the Gundam card game that I have here for you today. I'm very much looking forward to this. I'm hoping Bandai will ramp up the reveal schedule so that we know what's coming more. Or if they want to keep it as a good surprise for everything, fine, then we'll learn everything together when I get my booster box and starter decks and open cards on stream. So, with that, I'm going to switch us over to the BRB. Stop my Audacity. Nope. Save that for later. Switch things over to the BRB. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, and I'm going to get Death Stranding set up. Don't go anywhere. Okay, I'm back. Go ahead and stop the music. Switch. Death Stranding director's cut. Done. Whew. Just in time for Sari to yell at me to take a break. Very funny. Excuse me. Whew. Sorry about that. My body isn't used to me talking uninterrupted for that long. Whew. That was an hour and a half of yapping. I hope you all enjoyed that. A couple of things I wish I said a little bit better. Some takes I should have done thoroughly. But I enjoyed that. I'm going to slap that together, or at least cut up the audio, put some visuals for it, and make it into an actual video for YouTube. And then starting tomorrow, my intent is to actually put out videos covering each new card as they get released. Ooh. Okay. Ooh. So if I'm not as talkative now, I hope you understand. It's obviously because I just talked my ass off. However, we might have some rather engaging activity here in Death Stranding. Switch things over. God damn it, I forgot. I got to actually switch the... screw it. I'll just do it this way. Over. There we go. Alright, we're back into Death Stranding proper now. So, updates on our game here. I went offline and did some deliveries and stuff whatnot in my own time, which have had catastrophic results.
Feels good.
Oh, we're getting some likes with stuff that we've been doing. But yeah, let me take a quick break here. So, I did some offline stuff, and it hurt me a lot. Oh boy. I came back to I took an order to try to deliver stuff to the weather station. Ran into some BT.